Last week, I showed you my new run and gun camera rig, and I said I had some nightclub filming to do over the weekend. So since then, I've been able to have a bit of rest and I've looked through all the footage, so I'm now ready to share with you my field report on how it all went. So first up, even before I took the rig out, but after I posted the video, I made two other modifications to the rig. One thing that was bugging me was going to be the battery. So what I actually did was combined it with a V-Lock battery, and then I placed it in a lens bag and basically taped it and Velcroed it to the side of my rig here like this. What it allowed me to do was both get power for the P-tap as well as a USB out that charged the nano follow focus that I had on the rig. That made it all a little bit more clunky, a little bit heavier, but it meant that I didn't have to worry as much when I was on this rig about power. The other one was the fact that I put a microphone on top. Now, this is a bit big and clunky for what I have, but it was the microphone that I had. I wanted to make sure that just in case I was able to talk to anyone or have some type of interview scenario, I was at least going to get some kind of quality sound. So what I did was I set my left channel to mono with the jack in, and then I set my right channel to the camera audio as a mono as well. That to me were the two mods that I made even before I took this out. And honestly, it was a lifesaver having this because the batteries inside these cameras, or the LP6 batteries that you can get, do not last anywhere near the 40 minutes. There was one incident where I was holding a shot for about a minute and a half, waiting for the drop, waiting, and you could hear the music building and building and building, and then just as the drop came, the whole camera turned off. Oh man, it just makes it not worth it. So on the Friday night, we had a lot more bands that were playing. What it meant was there was a bit more space around on the stage and in front of the stage. This was sort of perfect for me to kind of get a bit of a feel for the rig, tested it on some of the earlier warm-up bands, you know, get a feel for how it all went. And that was really important because I found one limitation quite early on, which kind of worried me for a second, but then I sort of worked around it, was the fact that when you are sort of down in what they call the pit, which is below the stage but in front of all the people, and you're shooting, and obviously shooting upwards, the motors at a certain angle couldn't hold the weight of the camera anymore, and it just wigged out, and all of a sudden the shot that I'd been moving back and forth on just fell to pieces. The biggest issue was it made the battery level go down to half from full, basically. So that worried me, but luckily I had my charger on hand and I was able to just basically, when I wasn't shooting on the rig, I would charge the batteries to kind of keep it going and just make sure that I could get myself through the whole night. The 14mm setup with the follow focus worked a treat. How I actually ended up controlling it was that I would hold the entire rig in my right hand, and then in my left would just be playing up and down with my thumb to actually continue follow focusing, basically. I then woke on the Saturday and I couldn't get the follow focus to calibrate with the lens. And I actually found that the lens that I had, the Samyang 14mm 2.8, the focus ring had actually tightened. It was a new lens, so I understand, you know, with a bit of wear, maybe it would actually loosen, but it stopped me for the rest of the weekend, basically using my follow focus. So that was a bit of a fail. The follow focus was good. I tested it on the 35mm here and it works fine, but I was just worried that I was just trying to pull a bit too hard with the 14mm and it was gonna break the motor or something inside my new follow focus. So I decided at a certain point just to keep it wide, you know, and to keep a distance away from the subject, and so I didn't have to worry too much about what was going on. I took the 14mm back, and I've decided to go to the Cine Opt version of that, which is T3.1. I've got my 35mm on here at the moment, which became the other style of shooting that I did. This 35mm worked a treat. for two reasons. One, it allowed me to get the close-ups that I needed. 35mm was fine. It also came at f1.4, so all the situations where the light was pretty crap, which was most of the situations, and you know, like I was barely getting a reading on the camera at 2.8, 1.4 just gave me a little bit more. Now I coupled that with, that's when I was shooting all my 50 frames per second stuff, and so now I sort of have these two distinctive styles going, where one was a bit more wide at 2.8 at 25 frames per second, where you could actually get a feel for what's going on, and the idea is that I would kind of use the 35mm as a cutaway lens. One of my key learnings was I took too much gear. I took the gimbal, and then I had a shoulder rig, and then I had a monopod. I scrapped the shoulder rig. I completely scrapped the monopod because I definitely wasn't going to be doing any interviews. And this ended up basically being a setup with the Pelican case, with just all the little bits and pieces. I was able to take that around, put that somewhere, and then when I needed to, I just swung a lens on and off the gimbal and just kept going from there. You get quicker with the more of this type of shooting that you do, and you also, you know, because you know after a while what you're going in to get. You don't waste as much time, you don't shoot as much as what you do when you first start, when you think, oh, I'm gonna have to get everything, and you just get more efficient. And I know that I've improved from the first day to the last day doing this, because it was, you know, it was a challenge to not know where I was going or what I was shooting, or what the sights looked like until I got there. But I found that this overall, you know, can make a piece. So that's probably it for now. If you have any questions, just let me know. I'm probably missed out on a whole bunch of stuff. This is the first of these. So yeah, ask me a lot of questions. Subscribe to the channel. I'd love to kind of do a whole bunch more of these things, because I will have other bits and pieces of gear in which I'm gonna kind of review a little bit or go out there and shoot with. Put it in certain situations where it's really useful, and then come back and report to you guys as well. So subscribe to my channel, leave some comments, say hello, and I'll see you next time. I forgot to add that I bought this guy for $70 secondhand, but the guy had barely used it and he was going overseas. So I picked myself, let me unzip it, up a slider. Nice little carbon fiber. So I'm going to take this guy out and have a play with him and show you the results when I come. Sweet, see you next time. Ah, works perfect. Phew.